Already, I've seen a lot of theories and opinions about this ending scene of The Bad Batch Season 1. Clearly, the boys over at Lucasfilm are trying to interweave The Bad Batch with the grander Star Wars narrative, as they've been doing so all season, with references to the Clone Wars, Rebels, Republic Commando, Order 66, all the death and stuff, yeah, everything. So what is going on here at the end of The Bad Batch? What is this planet? Where are we? What's this giant facility built into the structure of a mountain? Wow, this thing is impressive. And what did the Empire want with Nala Se? What are they going to be cloning? Also, why are there so many clone commandos here? That's the only real reason I'm interested in this place. Pretty sure it's Darrow, but we'll get to that in a sec. The boys are going to show up.
So I've got some boys with me, 3 other guys.
Got some boys with me. Hey everyone, it's Andrew. So, it's clear the Empire are interested in cloning. We've known this for some time now, although the capacity of that has been unclear. I think there could be a few routes they're headed down. They wouldn't have decided to keep Nala Se and other important Kaminoan scientists alive unless they had a much grander purpose. But wait, I thought the Empire were completely done with cloning. Well, no, that doesn't seem to be the case, because they're doing something very evil behind the scenes here. And otherwise, Rampart would have just dealt with both Nala Se and Lama Su here. What is it, a scientist I have use for? A politician? I do not. And then the doors close. Lama Su's fate is sealed, or is it? We'll get to that soon. Okay, so the first theory surrounding cloning and Nala Se's purpose here, which I'm really hoping isn't true, is all about Palpatine, and connects to the rise of somehow Palpatine returned. Seriously, who wrote this?
Somehow Palpatine returned.
Somewhere in California, George Lucas is crying tears of money. So the idea here is that Palpatine wanted to begin cloning experiments using the same people he manipulated to give him control of the Grand Army of the Republic, the Kaminoans. So he could use this clone army to then turn against the Jedi, kill them all, and control the galaxy. He's organizing for the leading Kaminoan cloners to be rounded up and begin working on his contingency plan in the event of his death. And this potentially also connects to those strange cloning experiments in the Mandalorian, which we'll get to in a sec. Still not really sure what's going on here, but the Empire are up to something evil behind the scenes, right? I really hope this isn't the way this is heading, though. I honestly don't really care about how Snoke was created, how Palpatine cloned himself and survived all this somehow. Sure, Snoke was a strand cast. Sure, Palpatine had cloned himself over and over again. There were many failed clone experiments. There were a lot of this mirrors Starkiller's story and what happened there, which is now in Star Wars Legends, but I don't want to turn this into a video that's just all about The Rise of Skywalker. I've said my piece about that film in the past. That's in the past, and let's keep it that way. The next theory ties heavily into the events of The Mandalorian and whatever's going on behind the scenes in that show involving Grogu. You might have noticed that this Imperial who greets Nala Se at this base is wearing the same uniform as Dr. Pershing from The Mandalorian. A coincidence? I think not. Both involved in cloning of some sort, but I also think it's likely just the Empire's uniform for scientists. Also noticed it looks kind of similar to Galen Erso's uniform from Rogue One. So we know that the Empire values Grogu's DNA, and although we still don't really know their plans behind the scenes, it's pretty clear it has something to do with cloning, right? Again, with the strange, mysterious cloning facility from The Mandalorian, it was abandoned. Some people think these are failed Snoke experiments and failed Palpatine clones, and we also got a glimpse of some failed clone experiments in the abandoned facility on Borovio in The Bad Batch, possibly some of Nala Se's other experiments. There was a Celestin, a Kaminoan, so they're really trying to make it clear that behind the scenes, they've been trying to clone DNA that's not derived from the Jango Fett template. They've been doing more and trying to experiment with other templates. But what specifically are they working on? Well, the reason the Empire are after Grogu in The Mandalorian is because of his blood. The Empire wished to perform M-count blood transfusions, which I think means taking Grogu's blood, analyzing it, manipulating it, and attempting to transfer it to someone else. M-count actually means midichlorian count, so all that stuff George included in The Phantom Menace about midichlorians everyone originally hated, that's the reason we're going down this route today. I love how before The Phantom Menace, the idea of Star Wars and the Jedi were basically just mysticism, right? Had that whole samurai-like energy feeling style, but then George decided to introduce science, midichlorians. You either have them in your blood or you don't, and if you do, they make you special. Everyone hated it. That Phantom Menace hate at the start was incredible. George knew what he was doing though. So the Empire interested in somehow taking Grogu's blood and giving it to others to give them the Force, to give them Force-sensitive abilities. Are the Empire interested in cloning Force-sensitive super soldiers? Is that where this is going? We know they're heavily in favor of moving away from a clone army, instead going for conscripted soldiers, which will eventually become the Stormtroopers. So if that's the case, is their interest in cloning all about creating a special unit of super soldiers who are potentially Force-sensitive? Which leads me to the third theory, the Death Trooper theory, or rather the Elite Trooper theory. If we're not going down the whole Snoke and Grogu road, then it feels more likely that the Empire are developing super soldiers which could be an early prototype for Death Troopers or Purge Troopers. We already know that some of the original Purge Troopers were Jango Fett clones, still following their Order 66 programming. Jango Fett was the perfect template for the clone army because of his Mandalorian bounty hunter heritage and skill set, getting his head lopped off. So do the Empire still want to continue cloning Jango's DNA for some kind of enhanced super soldier, possibly similar to the Bad Batch? Are they going to combine it with whatever they're doing with Grogu eventually to create some other genetic mutation super soldier similar to the Bad Batch again? We've learned that the cloners are able to enhance genetic mutations. That's what the Bad Batch are all about. They're enhanced clones. So I think the real question is, are they secretly creating the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Gonna start flipping in their Raphael, Leonardo. They're all here. But anyway, this leads me to the next theory. Did the Empire have some kind of interest in either Omega or Boba Fett?
Yep.
So far, we've seen little to no evidence of this. The Empire were happy to let Omega perish on Kamino with the Bad Batch, and they've shown no interest in hunting her since. It was Lama Su who ordered Cad Bane to track down Omega, so the Kaminoans were after her, not the Empire. But we still don't know a whole lot about the Kaminoans' Phase 3 clones, or their contingency plan for making a deal with the Empire to continue the cloning operation, which obviously isn't happening anymore and is no longer under the Kaminoans' control. Originally, before the Empire made up their minds and completely nuked the place, Kaminoans wanted to impress the Empire and prove that their clones were worth the price. Earlier in the season, they spoke of the Jango Fett clone template DNA deteriorating, but that's where Omega and Boba come into the picture. They are perfect unmodified clones of Jango, meaning their DNA can be used by the Kaminoans as a fresh batch. The Kaminoans would be able to clone both Omega and Boba without having to go through the trouble of figuring out how to clone another template. So this Phase 3 that they referred to seems to have something to do with genetically enhanced clones. Nala Se was, clearly working on something behind the scenes. We know she created Omega and the Bad Batch in her private research lab. It seems like she was also doing other experiments, and I think there's more to this place than they're currently letting on. Also, we still don't know if Lama Su is dead or alive. Did Rampart detain the Kaminoan Prime Minister, or was he killed? Rampart said he had no use for a politician, but I don't know, we didn't hear any blaster fire like we did early in the season when Crosshair's squad slaughtered Saw Gerrera's insurgents and the innocent civilians. So I think there's a chance that somewhere behind the scenes, Lama Su is still alive and is potentially another piece in the Empire's grand plan for galactic domination. Or he's dead. And I think Omega still has some larger purpose in all of this. She's too valuable to not be hunted, if that makes sense. Alternatively, will the Empire make a deal with Boba to produce some super soldiers? Is he the template for an experimental type of soldier? Are we going to get more of his origin story and his backstory? Will Omega and Boba eventually meet? That'd be cool. My brother. Could this all potentially even have something to do with clone commandos? Never seen so many of them in one location all at once. Are they creating a batch of Imperial commandos? Super soldier Imperials. A couple other things to note. I think we can be pretty certain that this planet is Darrow, where we previously saw the commandos and where the Bad Batch saved Gregor. Looks similar in a lot of ways, the mountains, forest planet. I think it's pretty probable it's the same location. Why would they introduce a planet a few episodes ago where we see the commandos and see this base and then not make this the same place, right? And clearly they were up to more than just training TK troopers at this facility. Also, what's with this scientist's goggle glass? What are these? Come on. She looks so goofy. So what do you think Nala Se will be getting up to at this Imperial facility? What will she be cloning? Love to know your thoughts down below. And I'm also working on the full breakdown of this episode, the Bad Batch, Easter eggs and everything, so keep an eye out for that. That'll probably release tomorrow. And come and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and join my Discord for lots more Star Wars news, gaming, everything you want and need. And thanks for watching this. My name's Andrew. I'll catch you soon.
Stay bombastic.